After 3 nights of riots at the Christmas Island Immigration Detention Centre, authorities have moved to separate the alleged ringleaders. Lateline understands 12 Iranian men are being flown to Sydney tonight, where they'll be held in Silverwater Jail. No charges have been laid. Tension remains high at the centre, and there are widespread concerns about the safety and welfare of asylum seekers and staff. Karen Barlow reports.
Asylum seekers lit fires and threatened self-harm over 3 nights of riots in the Christmas Island Detention Centre. Authorities say about 50 people were involved last night, and federal police had backup flown in from the mainland.
The AFP were firing tear gas and incendiary devices to make loud noises and flashing lights, and I think there might have been some beanbag bullets fired off in there as well. It was very chaotic. It was very dangerous.
The union says the damage is worse than what happened in the March riots. Refugee advocates say the asylum seekers are dealing with the same conditions inside the centre and the same sense of hopelessness.
We're not surprised. The conditions in the detention centre are deteriorating.
The federal government is unimpressed.
Some people would call this a violent protest. I don't. It's simply wanton violence and vandalism, attacking buildings, setting fire to mattresses and trying to cause damage. And the only thing that these people are achieving is potentially swapping their immigration detention for accommodation in a prison.
And that's exactly what's happening. It's understood 12 men are being flown on a chartered plane to Silverwater Prison in Sydney. No charges have been laid. The men are Iranian and are unsuccessful asylum applicants.
The department has been trying to portray a picture that these people are failed asylum seekers, but they're not asylum seekers that are out of legal process. They're people who have been waiting too long for security clearances, they're waiting for dates for IMR hearings, they're waiting for answers from the appeal hearings.
Refugee advocates want independent human rights observers to go into the Christmas Island Centre, while the Union of Christmas Island Workers say staff engaged by the contract company Serco are in imminent danger.
I could see their blue shirts running when tear gas was shot over the back of buildings into what they call the Green Heart, where detainees had lit some fires.
Serco would not comment on specific risks to staff, but released a statement saying the health and well-being of our staff and those in their care is our first priority. We have a zero harm policy in place across our organisation, and we invest in training and support for employees to reduce the risk of any coming to harm. That's not enough for Kay Bernard, who's written to the agency that oversees Commonwealth workplace safety, ComCare, urging a Priority 1 investigation and inspection. She says employees and contractors are exposed to a substantial risk of death or serious bodily harm.
I don't believe I'm overplaying it. There's some people that are very, very damaged out there. There's some very violent incidents, and people are undertaking duties out there that are way beyond their jurisdiction or their authority to hold people and restrain people.
ComCare has now launched a new investigation into the Christmas Island Detention Centre, separate from a nationwide investigation earlier this year after a series of disturbances across the country. An Immigration Department spokesman says the department is highly responsive on all reports about Christmas Island, and it would consider any recommendations about improving work practices. The trouble inside Australia's immigration detention centres is still to be sorted while the federal government finalises its asylum seeker swap deal with Malaysia. The Immigration Minister, Chris Bowen, is expected to seal the deal on Monday. Karen Barlow, Lateline.